we studied about surface water and groundwater. Okay, by telling the names itself, when I say surface water, the water which is above the ground, and if I say groundwater, which is under the ground. We studied about the vocabularies of surface water and groundwater, and then I told you about channel and tributary. What is a channel? Channel is the path that a stream follows. It's not the stream itself, it's a path, the zigzag or the what it follows, that's called a channel. Over time, channel gets wider and deeper. Over time, the channel gets wider and deeper. What is a tributary? It's a smaller stream that's feed into a river and eventually a river system. That is a stream. Like when I compare channel, channel is the path and tributary is a stream that feeds into a river. And eventually, into the river, the water is coming from some mountain or somewhere. The path is called the channel, and the where it enters into the river, that is called the tributary. A river system is a network of streams and rivers that drains an area as it's run off. So the girls, this will explain you the difference between the what you call as surface water and groundwater, and you will know the difference here between the surface and groundwater, that what is a groundwater and what is a surface water, what is the channel, what is the tributary. Okay, this will explain you in a better way.
Messages.
Why they matter? What is groundwater? Groundwater is water that moves through soil and rocks below Earth's surface. Groundwater comes from rain, snow, sleet, and hail that soak into the ground. Water moves down into the ground through cracks and holes because of gravity. Water passes between particles of soil until it reaches a depth where the ground is filled with water. Now let's discuss soil structure. The structure of the soil affects groundwater's movement. 3 particles determine soil structure: sand, silt, and clay. Sand particles are large. They range in width from 5/100ths to 2 millimeters. A microscope must be used to see silt particles. They are between 2/1000ths and 5/100ths of a millimeter in width. A special microscope is required to see clay particles. They are less than 2/1000th of a millimeter wide. Soil type depends on how much of each kind of particle makes up the soil. There are 13 different kinds of soil. Porosity. What is porosity? Groundwater moves through spaces between the soil particles. These spaces are called pores. Not all soil has the same amount of pore space. Porosity depends on the number and size of pores in soil. The pores in soil are all connected, allowing water to pass through them. This means that soil is permeable. How easily water moves through the soil is called permeability. It is the rate at which water flows through empty spaces. Gravel, sand, clay, and dirt have very different permeability and porosity. Let's dive in deep within permeability. Pore spaces must be connected in order for water to flow throughout them. The rock or soil is then known as permeable. Sandstone is a great example of a permeable surface. If pore spaces are not connected, the object is said to be impermeable. Water cannot flow through the groundwater system. Granite is an example of an impermeable rock. It does not have many pore spaces. Clay has many pore spaces, but they are all not well connected, so it is not a permeable surface. Porosity versus permeability. Farmers must be aware of these soil conditions so they can determine the best way to grow crops. Builders also consider these conditions in the area in which they plan to build. Environmentalists watch porosity and permeability closely when there is a risk that a pollutant might be introduced into the groundwater supply. What are aquifers and wells? Water will continue to soak into the ground until it reaches a layer of impermeable rock. Once water reaches an impermeable layer, it keeps the pore spaces in the layers above it filled. Water that moves freely in a layer of permeable rock is called an aquifer. Wells extract water from aquifers. Good producing aquifers are both porous and permeable. Now let's go back to groundwater. How do we use it? Well, you should know that half of America's drinking water comes from groundwater. It is utilized for crop irrigation, for industries, and for mining. Now let's discuss surface water. Surface water. Water is
So girls, do you remember how much was fresh water present in the earth? Yesterday I have made you highlight that point. How much is the earth surface water or earth groundwater, what do you call as fresh water? How much percentage is the fresh water? 3%. 3% is fresh water. And in that 3%, I said 2% is almost covered with ice. So there's only 1% left with fresh water, and this 1% has to go to all of us. It has to go to us. It has to reach to the industries. So it's very less amount, and that's the reason we have to preserve water. Okay, girls, one more thing now. Yeah. Yes, Julie. The next page is this one. All right, I'll just download this and I will explain you from this here now. As you know that our book is not getting uploaded today on the website. So here, within watersheds. What is a watershed? It is the area of land that is drained by a river system. Girls, till yesterday I was teaching you how the water is entering into the river. That is a stream, or I told you about channel, the way, the path that it goes, that's a channel. Now today I'm telling how it will go from the river. How is the water going? Watershed. Watershed is the area of land that is drained by a river system, where the river lets its water go from the river. That is called the watershed. That area is called the watershed area. Streams, a river, floodplains, lakes, ponds, wetlands, groundwater, all of them, they contribute water to a watershed. They all have an area where it will, let its water go. Watersheds are separated from one another by a ridge or an area of high ground called the divide. You know the word divide, like, we divide into two portions like that. These watersheds are separated from one another by a ridge, by something, an area, like, how dams we stop so that the water doesn't flow to the other side. They are separated by a ridge, a tall wall or something like that. That is a higher ground, which is called a divide. Precipitation that falls on one side of the divide enters one watershed, while the precipitation that falls on the other side of the divide enters another watershed. So there are two different watersheds which are separated by a, what you call, as they said, they are separated by a area of higher ground. So the precipitation what falls to the left side is collected only to the left side. It doesn't flow to the right side. And the one which is on the right side, that don't go to the left side, that is collected to the right side. So this is how the water is collected on each path. Now, the largest watershed in the United States is the Mississippi River. When we are talking about what you call as in United States, it's called as Mississippi River watershed. It has hundreds of tributaries. It extends from, I told you what a tributary. It's like what comes and join to the lake or river. It extends from Rocky Mountains in the west to Appalachian Mountains in the east. Oh my God, from West America to East America. It is such a big river, the largest, and even, it's a very good, it's a general knowledge that you must know the largest river of America is Mississippi. Even in international social, when you are studying about this, they explain you that the largest river is called as Mississippi, which extend from east to west, and now the length of United States from north to south. Many factors affect the flow of water in a watershed. For example, plants. If you have in between plants, they will slow the runoff. They will reduce the erosion. The porosity and permeability, what he was explaining just now in that. The permeability, the layers which have holes and how it goes inside. The rocks and sediments, they determine how much water can seep down, how can it go down, how much it can go down to form a groundwater. So the steepness of the land also affects how fast water flows over a watershed. Girls, from that time, could you see the book or no? You couldn't?
Yes.
Essential for all life to survive. Everything on Earth is linked to water, either directly or indirectly. Streams and rivers move water across the land. Clouds transport water across the sky. Ponds, lakes, marshes, and swamps often hold water in place. Water is important as a foundation for life and for its habitat. When it rains or snows, some of the water that falls to the surface moves as runoff. It collects in rivers, lakes, and oceans. How do we use surface water? Well, we use surface water to generate electricity, for drinking water, for crop irrigation, for recreation, for manufacturing and industries. Now let's talk about the water cycle for just a bit. Groundwater and surface water are connected by what is known as the water cycle. It's also known as the hydrologic cycle. It describes the continuous movement of water above, on, or below the surface of the earth. What is the difference? Let's listen to the words. Groundwater is found under the ground. Surface water.
It's simple. Groundwater is found under the ground. Surface water is found on the surface. Both are very vital, that is important for life, and both need to be kept clean, and we need to conserve it, girls. Now, last few minutes, I just want to discuss about Thursday, girls. Thursday, you have Earth Day. Do you know that? Did Miss Wella send you something? Girls, Thursday is the Earth Day.
Yes, on Thursday.
Yes, you need to know that our topic is that
Miss,
yes,
it's what you just said. I was in the bathroom.
I said Earth Day is on Thursday. Earth Day. We are celebrating Earth Day on Thursday. So that day we have activities. Okay. I'll be showing you videos that you create scenarios, and you, like, each girl have to participate. It's not that, and I will also give you time for a group, group activity, like you all will discuss with each other and give your own views that how can you save Earth from disasters? How can you save Earth from, there are many things, girls. How can you save Earth? It's like Earth Day activity. You all can give your own ideas. You can talk, we can discuss.